Let's just talk about some of the things that you can expect in this first hour together. Like I said, pretty full. Things are still fluid at this point in time, but the excitement surrounding our Chicago Bears, we really just can't get enough of that. I mean, we're riding on a high right now as a city all together. And while everyone was cheering at Saturday's game, and after especially Saturday's game, really, it was one hat that stole the show. The cheese grater on DJ Moore's head when the team was in the locker room and they were saying, "Go DJ, that's my DJ." Yeah, everyone wants one of those cheese graters now. Thousands, in fact, have sold just within the last several days here. So happening very quickly. I'm so looking forward to a chat that we have lined up with the man behind the company, trying to make them and ship them out just as quickly as they can, really at record speed for all of the inquiries that are coming in. Also, gold has surged more than 69% this year, and its biggest annual rise since 1979. Remember, we were talking about just a few months ago the gold bars that we're selling from some of the major traders. Well, gold has jumped more than 2% to a record high just this week on Monday, right along with silver now. So I'm going to be talking to the owner of a gold exchange here in the city of Chicago who really knows the ins and the outs, where you should get in, where you should get out, all of those things. That's going to be coming up for you as well. And there has been a horrible accident in Galveston Bay today. That is just outside of Houston. A Mexican medical plane, their Navy medical plane has crashed. A 2-year-old is among at least 5 people dead. They are still searching the waters to find those who are unaccounted for at this time. So those numbers could fluctuate here. We'll be getting an update on that particular situation in just a few minutes. And it appears that a crisis has been averted in the city of Chicago, where the city budget is concerned as well. We are going to be bringing in our political reporter, Paris Schutz, just as soon as he steps in the building back from City Hall to bring him into the conversation, bring us in to the updates here as the alternative plan gets the go-ahead, even if it's kind of begrudgingly from the mayor. Think back on that entire situation. So over the last several weeks, the mayor and the city alders have been going back and forth on this city budget. The mayor, they have to close a $1.1 plus billion gap. It's a budget gap that they need to close. And so obviously trying to find options that are going to close that kind of gap don't come easy, and requires some compromise, quite honestly, on both sides. And so the mayor put forth an initial budget that included some things that were really unsettling for a lot of people. In particular, I think the biggest point of contention became this corporate head tax that he had in his budget. And initially, that was for businesses that had 100 employees or more. That's a lot of businesses in the city. And so the business community was like, we can't stand that. I mean, many of the businesses are still trying to get fully back on their feet after COVID. Still, 5 years later. And so they said that would push a lot of businesses out of the city. And so the mayor, in compromise, raised that cap to 500 employees or more. But still, there were many alders who said, listen, we need a pro-business environment here in the city of Chicago. We are seeing too many businesses going elsewhere and not attracting enough businesses to come to our area. And this would be a jobs killer. That's what they called it, a jobs killer, if the city had a corporate head tax. So a growing group of alders came up with their own idea. It started with just a couple. We've put in a phone call to the alder who started that movement, Nicole Lee. It grew to about 26 alders, 27 alders, 29. The city council and the mayor decided they were going to meet every single day until they could come to some type of resolution. We began to ask the questions, what if they don't? And they have to get it done by December 31st. So we began to ask the question, what if they don't? What does that look like? And some of our reporters, took steps to really find out, what does a fiscal cliff look like? What does a shutdown look like here in the city of Chicago? What halts? What city services wouldn't be provided for people? And so the mayor and the city alders decided they were going to meet every single day so that they could try to work this out. Again, there was the growing group of alders on the alternative budget side. Some of the things in their budget that the mayor didn't like, there was a garbage fee that was in there, a garbage collection fee. The mayor thought that puts the onus of, or more of the onus of the city budget on the working people of the city, who are already seeing, rises or in so many other areas of your life, raises in so many other areas of your life, in terms of your pocketbook, things that are tightening your wallet. And so he was fully against that garbage collection fee. There were some other fees that were added in there that he was against. As time was going on, again, compromise was being made on either side. It did seem like more and more, as they were working through the budget, the alternative budget that was gaining steam started to add in more of the mayor's, the meat of the mayor's ideas without that corporate head tax. And so on Saturday, by Saturday, this past Saturday, that group had grown to about 29 or 30 alders that were on board for the alternative. They needed 34 alders to have a veto-proof majority. They didn't get 34 alders all on board, but today the mayor said, I'm not going to veto it. So just as soon as Paris Schutz gets back here, we're going to be talking with him about what exactly changed for the mayor to say, you know what, let's just move this forward, and what happens now, and what ended up in the final version that the mayor said, you know what, I'm not going to sign on to it, but I'm also going to let it pass. What does that mean? For him or for the alders that were on the other side. So we're going to be talking with him about it just as soon as he gets in. So much to that, but again, they had until the 31st, and it looks like we're at the very least, however it ends up, we're at the very least going to avoid going into a government shutdown here in the city of Chicago. By and large, I think everyone's kind of tired of government shutdowns already. The nation has already been through one, and so we certainly didn't need one here in the city of Chicago, and it looks like they have at least averted that. Let's take a quick break, 2 minutes, and then we're going to bring in one of our reporters from our sister station down in Houston so that we can get an update on that situation that's gone down in the Galveston Bay. Sit tight, 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. 1:11 right now, and the Mexican consulate in Houston is reporting that at least 5 people have been killed and 1 person presumably dead after a crash in the Galveston Bay. We do now have reporter Karis Belger from our sister station in Houston to give us an update on what's taken place there. Karis?
It's very busy right now. There have been boats out on the water at least since 7 in the morning, and we've seen a Coast Guard helicopter flying overhead for at least the last hour as well. There's 1 person who they are still looking for, and there appears to be a piece of the plane wreckage still in the water. That's where a lot of the effort has been concentrated. So here's what we've been able to learn so far. We've been watching the boats move back and forth. The Mexican consulate confirmed that a small Navy plane crashed into Galveston Bay Monday. The plane was on a medical mission transporting a young burn patient and also 7 others when officials say a, quote, accident occurred. We're still waiting to learn the details of what exactly that incident was. 4 of the people on board were members of the Mexican Navy. The other 4 were civilians. All members of the Mexican Navy right now are presumed dead. They are currently looking for the remains of 1 Lieutenant Commander Luis Terrones. They have not recovered him just yet. He is the person the teams are in the water for. And this flight was part of a mission with Mishu and Mao IAP Foundation. And it's a nonprofit that helps transfer burn victims to local area hospitals. The organization released a statement on social media just to give you a little bit of what it said. It says, "We express our deepest solidarity with the families in light of these events. We share our grief with respect and compassion, honoring their memory." At Galveston Bay, I'm Karis Belger. Back to you.
Karis, I mean, this is just such a horrible tragedy. Can you describe the scene around you? Where are you, and what's around you?
Well, we're right off Galveston Bay. We're right near the causeway, so that's kind of that bridge that takes you into this area. The waters have been very busy. We've seen sheriffs, Galveston sheriffs, boats in the water. There's also a local organization called EquiSearch, Texas EquiSearch. They've also been out assisting as well. And I mentioned that Coast Guard helicopter that's been flying overhead. Occasionally it will go away and it'll be covering a wide swath of water. And because there is such a wide area of water that they're looking for, we've been told by crews that that makes this search particularly difficult. They've been using the latest sonar equipment that they have available, but even then it takes a lot of manpower because of how much of the area they have to look for. Because it's not just where they know the plane wreckage was, it's also the area around it. That's why they are again searching for that missing member of the Mexican Navy. Back to you.
Yeah, it's so grateful for their hard work, and I can see one of the ships or boats that's moving behind you. Is that the Coast Guard? Who's that over your shoulder?
This boat behind me, that is the Galveston police right now. They are just coming in near to where this shore is right now. They are one of the many local organizations that have been involved with the search. You've had Galveston Police, you've had the Galveston County Sheriff's Office, you've also had Texas EquiSearch, and as I mentioned, that Coast Guard. So that boat right now that you are seeing, that is the Galveston Police. They've been out here since the early morning hours as well.
Have they given any indication as to, I mean, are they going to search as long as possible? Do they have, until dark? And of course, dark now would be, at least here in Chicago, about 4 o'clock.
Yeah, visibility is going to be the biggest challenge here. When it gets dark, that is when we understand they will hold things or at least slow down in the search. You have to be very careful because not only are we talking about that wreckage, but this is also an area where people live. There are other boats that tend to be out in this area. In fact, there's a man who we spoke with yesterday who lives here. He was out on his boat just yesterday, and he told us that he was actually helping pull a woman from the wreckage. So they have to be really mindful about that kind of thing as well. Those are all factors that they have to consider. But presumably, once the sun has gone down, they can no longer see. Visibility becomes a challenge. That's when they will hold the search.
I would like to hear more about that witness and what he told you.
Well, that gentleman said simply that he'd been told while he was out on his boat that there was a crash. Initially, he thought it was a boat crash, but there were local police who told him where that crash was. He went out into the water. He got into the wreckage. We were able to get some video from him, but he described essentially that a woman, we're not sure who that woman was. We know there are 2 women who survived the crash, that he could hear her screaming and he could also hear her asking for help. He assumed that there was an air pocket in the wreckage where she was because she was still strapped to her seat, and there were seats around her as well. So he described the scene of basically trying to help other people pull that wreckage out of the way so he could get her out of that seat and pull her from there so she could obviously get taken to shore and, of course, get taken to a hospital for treatment as well. Very harrowing experience. He said it was just something he did. It was just an action he felt he had to take, but that's just one small piece of what we know has been a part of this story as the details have become available.
Yeah, are we expecting another press conference or anything of that sort in the coming hours?
I've been asking local authorities. They have not indicated that they will give a press conference anytime soon. We are hoping that if there is an update, they will let us know. But for right now, all the attention is on the search. Any information will come if they have a major update, is my understanding.
Okay, Karis, thank you so much. Karis Belger with our sister station in Houston. Thank you so much. Yeah, really horrible situation there, and really appreciate our sister station helping out for us to be able to see it, to see the mission that's going on. I mean, you know, just as she's speaking, you see that boat coming in of those first responders who are working overtime to try and find anybody who may, again, those who are unaccounted for at this point in time are presumed dead, but at least the family could have some type of closure if they were at the very least able to find the bodies of those that they are looking for as of right now. But what a harrowing tale from the person who just heard that there was an accident out there, had a boat, you know, and didn't know exactly what he was going to come upon, but actually got out there and was able to rescue someone. I mean, that is just amazing stuff. In the midst of it, we always hear, you know, stories that you wonder, well, what would you do if you were in the same type of situation? And it's good to know that someone at least tried to hop in there and do what they could. But again, at this point in time, it does appear that 6 people may be dead after this medical support plane from Mexico that's crashed. If you think about it, you know, just a few months ago, we were reporting on a medical plane on the East Coast that went down. So many of these planes take victims from various places, various countries, various places around the states as well, to the type of medical treatment that they may not be able to access in other areas. And so they are heroes on these planes, quite literally flying through the skies, or you know, you see there's another boat going out there, but they are heroes on medical missions trying to help people. And in this case, a 2-year-old is among those who are dead, as that plane was trying to get to some assistance for a young burn patient, for this medical support for a foundation that was assisting burn patients. They do wonderful work assisting burn patients on a regular basis. I mean, I don't know how many of these trips they make each year, but definitely more than one, and trying to help people get to the type of help that they wouldn't be able to access in other places. And yet, in this situation, those heroes on board, as Karis was saying, are among those who are presumed dead at this point in time, or confirmed dead at this point in time, along with the medical patient that they were transporting. And it's just so sad to see what's taken place there. Again, this was in the Galveston Bay. This is Galveston Bay west of the Galveston Causeway, as Karis was saying there. So we're going to look for more information as we get it. We'll be passing that along to you, but just a really sad situation. And we'll see what the first responders who are there in the water now outside of Galveston will be able to do, whether they're at the very least able to give some closure to the families who are still without answers at this point in time, just in terms of where their loved one is. Then there are the questions of what was the mishap that happened in the plane for it to go down during its flight. Who knows? who knows at this point in time? I presume we'll be getting an update. I don't know, and maybe because it's the Galveston Bay, we'll get an update from NTSB, maybe the FAA, since it had already come to our waterways as to what that could possibly be. You know, whether they're going to do an investigation to try to find black boxes or something of that sort to try to find out what went wrong for this medical support plane to go down in the Galveston Bay. All right, it's about 1:22 right now. I laid out for you where we're going with our 1 o'clock hour today. As I mentioned here, we're going to be talking about gold that has surged in our area throughout the nation. 69% this year, in its biggest annual rise since 1979. That's coming up in about 8 minutes, so stick with us. Let's do a quick break. We'll come back and we'll move along to get to that next. Welcome back, everyone. It's 1:25 right now. Let's take you to Wall Street and see what's happening for today, as we have just a bit of time before things close for the day. And you can see things did not start off well for the day, but things have rebounded quite nicely as we take a look at quite a bit of green that's there on your screen. We're up about 115 points at the moment for the Dow Jones. So stocks rising for a fourth straight session today. And it looks like artificial intelligence is driving this, as it often does. The S&P 500 is at a session high. The last kind of scope of it that they did is at a session high, adding 0.4%. Let's see here. The NASDAQ climbing 0.4% as well. And this looks like it's coming from stocks like NVIDIA and Broadcom. The Dow Jones, as you can see again, up about 112 points at the moment. But even at one point, it was up 151% as you're kind of looking at the ups and the downs of the day thus far. So what we're seeing here is that a report that was postponed from its planned release date of October 30th because of the government shutdown, of course, initially maybe spooked some investors into believing that an interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve in early 2026 was likely. So that's what they're saying is a part of the beginning of the day, trading lower, but then rising after that point in time here. So again, the New York Stock Exchange closes in just a bit. It's going to be closing early today as a result of closing early tomorrow, closing early tomorrow as a result of it being Christmas Eve. It will be closed on Thursday, and so it will be a short week, as it is for many people, but here on Wall Street as well. But again, nice to see that things are looking good for the moment, at least. A fourth straight session that we're seeing stocks rise and continuing to outperform during the holiday shortened week. So that's nice to see there. It is 1:28. Our gold experts are on the line, and we're going to bring them into the conversation after this. Stick with us. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we'll be back with that conversation. 1:30. Welcome back, everyone, here to Chicago Live. And so I've been talking about this conversation around gold. It jumped more than 2% to a record high, right along with silver on Monday. And Russ Bega, the CEO of Harlan J. Burke, is joining me now to talk a little bit more about what we're seeing this year, because it's been on a high for a while now. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, when was the last time you saw something like this? I mean, it's been quite some time since we've really talked about gold on the rise.
Yeah, to be really honest, the gold market for the last year has really been on fire, if we're being honest. It is up such an incredible percent. I mean, we're up 71% year over year. So it's been running like this for quite a while.
Yeah, and before that, what were things like?
Things were a lot quieter. What we're really seeing with this is it's not so much of the retail investor that's driving a lot of this. There is retail investors that are getting involved, sure, but a lot of this is institutional changes. This is big governments buying large amounts. China is one of the biggest ones, but you also have countries like Brazil, South Africa, all those countries that are trying to build sovereign wealth. They're buying tremendous amounts of precious metal in general, but gold specifically.
Very interesting. Why gold specifically?
So, I mean, gold is gold. Gold is one of those metals. It is the metal. It has always been a store of wealth, even in antiquity, and that's why gold will always be utilitarian and always be considered money. As a not just doing bullion, but somebody that actually studies history and money, paper was never really money. Paper was a promise to give you money, which was hard money, and hard money is gold and silver. Gold and silver really is money. What we're seeing right now is the dollar being very weak, and we're seeing people run to safe haven assets, and gold is, frankly, the oldest safe haven asset that exists.
So is it that we see people turn to it more with like economic uncertainty, that they're looking for something that is certain?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of, gold is getting a lot of headlines right now because it's doing something that it doesn't usually do, and that's running so high. A 71% change year over year is insane. And that's not what gold does generally. Gold gains a couple of percent a year. It's very steady. What we're seeing, frankly, is the dollar is losing a tremendous amount of value, and people are looking for real stores of wealth. And gold, and to a lesser extent, but getting more important, silver and platinum, are those historical stores of wealth. And they'll continue being those historical stores of wealth, especially as countries like China and some of these other countries buy more. You're going to see the price continue to go up, and you're going to see more of these moves. Gold, I don't believe we'll ever go back to like a gold standard like we used to have, but I do believe that gold and precious metal are going to be much more important for countries and the bookkeeping of those countries.
Tell me about your company.
Yeah, so we've been in business since 1961. We're down in the middle of the loop. We've got a bunch of windows. Most times people wander in here and they go, "Oh, I've walked past this building for many, many years." But basically, what we do is we're actually, our biggest name is being an ancient coin dealer and a United States coin dealer, and also selling antiquities and things. But we do a tremendous amount of physical bullion. So this year we're on track to probably do somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 million in physical bullion.
Wow.
And we handle everything. We handle from, the person coming in just dipping their toes, buying one little piece of silver, all the way to somebody liquidating earlier this year 33 kilos of gold. So
Whoa.
we do all of it, and we're one of the larger buyers in the area for sure.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about the people that you see, like the typical person who comes in, or I mean, what?
Yeah,
I'm very curious.
Yeah, the fun part is there is no real typical, especially in this market. You have guys that have been buying gold since it was legal to, again in the 1970s. So they've been buying since gold is $300, and they'll keep buying until the day they die. You have people that have never thought about precious metals or even investing generally coming in, and, buying a little bit here and there. What we're really seeing is this market is becoming for everybody. As we have more good information available, as the internet has grown and things like that, a lot of this has been demystified and people are getting more into it. So, we see the gambit from, guys that have $1 million to spend all the way to guys that have, $65 to spend every couple weeks on a piece of silver.
And if you have $65, you just keep getting a little at a time until you're adding it up to something significant?
Yeah, generally that's how it works. So there's a couple schools of thought. That is more what we would call like the stacking mentality. And that is basically, yes, you have a little bit of disposable income, and rather than throw it in, I don't know, say your Roth IRA or, at a stock, you buy a little bit of silver or a little bit of gold and you keep it and you're holding it. What I tell people with precious metals is precious metals are not like stocks. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is basically, you're going to hold this for multiple years, and it's going to be a safety net for you. And if you need it, it's there. I've seen one person do really, really well on gold, but he got incredibly lucky with the run up. This is not something that you buy to get rich quick. This is something that you basically hide under your bed, and you have that security that you have real money, and it's there and available to you when you need it.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you addressed one of my next concerns, which is, where do you keep it? Now you said hide under your bed. Where do you really suggest someone keep this gold that they're stacking up safely? Yeah.
So that is actually a big issue that started coming up. In years past, the traditional wisdom was a safety deposit box in a bank. The problem with that is safety deposit boxes are going away. We are just, probably about 150 feet from the main Chase branch, and we have a pretty good relationship with them, and I have it on very good authority. I've been told more than once that every Chase branch in the nation will be closing their safety deposit boxes. And this is becoming a trend. Banks really, really do not want to have safety deposit boxes. So, frankly, it creates a very, very large problem. And to be really honest, I have guys that, there are guys that send stuff over to Switzerland to hold it in vaults when they have enough. I have guys that quite literally hide it under their bed. And then I have guys that will essentially, buy a good home safe, bolt it down, and hope for the best. But yes, it is actually a problem, and there's not a lot of great solutions out there right now.
Wow. And why are they getting rid of the safety deposit boxes that you've heard? I mean, is it that not enough people are using them?
It is a little bit of that. Safety deposit boxes are becoming a thing of the past a little bit more because, especially young people, there's not as many heirlooms, right? How many people are getting grandma's pearls, and how many people are putting those away? So it is partly due to the vacancy rate, but the other part, I believe, I don't have complete confirmation. I can't swear on a Bible to this, but there's staffing issues. You have to have somebody that's staffed there. So what is that? What is that end result? Does it make fiscal sense for them to be able to have to pay these people? What about their insurance premiums? Because all that stuff has to be insured in some sort of way. Does that have anything to do with it? But to be really honest, I think it's actually a larger symptom of what we're seeing in the world in general. And it is that physical is not thought about. You can think of this with even gold and silver. A lot of people don't buy physical gold and silver. They buy ETFs. So they're holding what we call like paper gold. Even in media, right? You don't own any of those shows you download from Amazon. You own a license to watch it, but you don't own it. And that's kind of what is happening even in this market, is that people aren't taking so much physical. Now people are, because people are worried about things. But in the past, a lot of people wouldn't take physical. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah. What's your take on what we're seeing go on with the pennies right now?
I get a lot of calls about that. So to be really honest, there's a lot of noise out there about it. But essentially what you need to know is that pennies for circulation. So Generally, we make a couple billion pennies a year, and they're distributed to the Federal Reserve. They get distributed to banks, all that good stuff. That part of the process is going away. So they're not going to make them in quantities of billions anymore for production and to give out to banks for change. So as you start seeing things will start to go to the roundup system. Canada got rid of their penny almost a decade ago, and there really hasn't been a big deal with it. But pennies will still be produced. They will be produced for special collector sets. And so you'll still see them. So there's a lot of hubbub about it. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I'm sorry. I am a professional dream crusher. I know. But your penny jar is probably not going to put your kid through college.
But a gold bar could.
Gold bar might. Gold bar might.
Okay, so let me also ask you your thoughts on like when some of the big box retailers, wholesale retailers, were offering. I think it was like Sam's or Costco that was offering Costco, okay, that was offering the gold bars for sale, and I mean they went fast, and it took a while for them to start reloading again.
Yes. So Costco is actually a really, really interesting case study because Costco is working very closely with a company called Pamp Swiss, who is actually now owned by a conglomeration here in the States. And they are making a tremendous amount of gold bars. I actually probably buy between 10 and 20 of those Costco gold bars a week here in the shop anymore. That has actually done wonderful things for our business and the awareness of gold. Gold is one of those things that is very mystifying to people. How do I buy it? How do I sell it? What do I have to do? Mm-hmm. And when I tell people that, it's real simple. You just come in, you talk to me, and you give me some money, and I hand you some gold. People are very shocked by that. So Costco jumping in really demystified gold for a lot of people, and it really brought a lot of people into the precious metals fold, and it got them more interested in it. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's tremendously interesting the amount of volume that they've been doing because it's a ton. It's a ton. So.
Yeah. Does your business, you said, people come in, talk to you, you give them some gold if they pay for gold. But does your business like buy it and melt it down for people?
No. So we are, as a bullion dealer, we sell end-use products essentially. So what we do a lot of the time is essentially, somebody that has had gold. So say they have 20 gold American Eagles, they'll come in and basically they'll sell them to us, and then I'll end up selling them to somebody else. That's really as complicated as it is. A lot of people think that there's a brokerage or things like that, but we don't do anything like that. We do work with refiners because sometimes there are things that do need to be melted and things like that. But we don't do any of that. We are just purely, a buy and sell outfit essentially.
So let me ask you what the effect of, as you're talking about things that are physical, what the effect of like the crypto market has on what you do for a living, because it does seem like essentially they're far apart, but your business is rising just as the crypto market is rising.
Yeah. Crypto is in some circles being looked at as a safe haven asset. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that so much. But people are looking for alternatives. What people are really looking for is alternatives to fiat. They're looking for alternatives to just trust me, this is what it's worth. Again, gold has been a precious metal, and it's been something that kingdoms literally go to war for thousands of years. It's always been precious. And that's why it continues to be expensive. And that's why it continues to be that store of wealth. One aside that I kind of tell people is that essentially, in 1933, when gold was deemed illegal for Americans to own for about 40 years, if you wanted to buy a nice custom suit, and you took a $20 gold piece to a tailor, you could get yourself a pretty nice suit. Today, if you go to a tailor with about $4,500, you can get a fairly decent suit. The way I look at gold is the number of dollars changes to buy gold, the number of fiat currency changes, Gold is constant. Gold does not change. Gold is worth what it's worth since essentially time immemorial.
Very interesting stuff. It is very intriguing to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And happy holidays.
You as well.
All right. 145 right now, whether you're buying gold for someone for the holidays or maybe just doing a little bit more research on it while it's on the rise. Let's continue on with our conversation after this break with the breakneck speed, really, that one company is having to work at this point, with so many people wanting those cheese grater hats that you saw DJ Moore wearing over the weekend when we were playing the Packers. Not just playing, but we beat the Packers to clinch our playoff spot for the Chicago Bears. It's 1:46. Let's take a quick break, 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So as all of the players were shouting, "Go DJ, that's my DJ," when everyone was on a high from just having that Packers game come to an amazing, thrilling finish, it was the cheese grater on DJ Moore's head that really got people still talking into today. And so I want to go now to the maker of the foam party hats that he was wearing in Houston, Manuel Rojas. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, very nice meeting you, and thank you for inviting me.
I love the setup around you.
Yep.
Just tell me about what we're seeing on your head and next to you right now.
Well, these are our famous cheese graters. We have been selling these like hotcakes for the past couple of days. We say here it's a Christmas miracle. We were coming up in a slow season, and then all of a sudden the game happened. We had that amazing finish, and then this started to sell like crazy. And we're just trying to keep up with all the demand, trying to ship everything as soon as possible.
Manuel, I love the fact that there is this beautiful story of how it's really boosted your company just in the nick of time.
Yep. It was perfect timing. Usually we are super busy, and we were just preparing to have like a nice, relaxing week, preparing for the next year. But change your plans. Everybody making hats right now.
Oh, this is the kind of change that you want to see. So you were already making these before? Like, tell me how DJ Moore ended up with one.
I have no idea. There's a lot of people saying that the fan gave it to him. There's some people that say that the wife bought it and had it at hand. But Funny story about the cheese graters is that this all started because we had our own version of a cheese hat. We didn't make it with the intention of selling to Green Bay Packers, but a lot of Green Bay Packers used to buy it a lot through Amazon or website or whatnot. And we end up getting a cease and desist letter from the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
So when this happened, I had to stop selling those, and I was a little bit pissed. So as a payback, we came up with the design of making our own cheese grater hat. And well, this is like the best revenge that we could ever had.
They say success is the best revenge.
That is correct.
Wow, what a story. What a backstory here. Okay, so all right, so the everyone sees DJ Moore wearing this on his head on Saturday night. Tell me how quickly you started getting orders.
Oh no, like I went to bed Saturday night around 9 p.m. It was a long day for me, and then next thing I wake up on Sunday and I always check my email first. I see a gazillion orders and I'm just wondering what the hell is happening here. And then that's when I go online and start seeing all the videos, the summary of the game, and all the stuff. So it was immediately like, oh wow, okay, we need to start working on this. So I went to the office, started printing orders and getting everyone ready for Monday to start producing this in mass.
Oh my goodness. And so at this point, I mean, we said over 3,000 sold. Is it more than that now?
Oh no, yeah, 3,000 was yesterday. We are right now around 4,500.
Wow, this is tremendous. Tell me how you make these. Like, are you using like a 3D printer?
No, so everything is handmade by us. So we have a machine that cuts the shapes for us, and then everything is assembled by hand. You can go to our Instagram account to see how the process is done, but everything is manufactured in Houston, Texas, and everything is handmade in Houston, Texas.
Wow, and everything is bigger in Texas, like the cheese grater on your head.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that people know who you are, what about your social media? Has it gone through the roof too?
Everything is going through the roof. We got people calling over the phone, joining social media. I mean, we have our experience with this kind of virality because we went to Shark Tank 5 years ago, and this is probably, I mean, if we give it a couple more days, it's gonna be crazier than Shark Tank. But it is about the same level of people calling, reaching out, buying, inquiring about the products, inquiring about the company, what we do, how we do it. So we're really lucky. We feel blessed about this opportunity, and we're just grateful that everything happened the way it happened, and now we can say that we have our company is a big Bears fan right now.
I'm sure you all are. Yeah. So, when you went to Shark Tank, what product did you take there?
Oh, we have a ton of products, and that's the beauty of our company is that we strive to do for creativity. We have more than 600 different hats. So we have wigs, we have food hats. Next year we got the license for the World Cup. We're doing America 250 products. So basically anything, what we say in our shop is that anything you can dream, we can make.
Do you have any of the other ones around you right now?
I actually made something special. This is one of our best sellers, and we made a costume. Yeah, this is our giant baseball cap. So we just made one real quick to use during the interviews because now we're a big Bears fan right now.
This is just the best. This is the best. And so you've got that on your social media and people are buying that up too, I'm sure.
Oh, this one we cannot sell because it's copyright. We just wanted to show some support to the team because they're changing our business by the minute.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe because of everything that's gone on, maybe you'll get a phone call because that I'm sure would just fly off the shelves as well. So great speaking with you. What are some of the things like maybe you haven't made yet, but you're hoping to do with your company in the year ahead?
Well, our biggest target, I always say this to our investors and our partners, that we want to pursue NFL license. Hopefully, we're demonstrating on the virality of the cheese grater the cheese grater hats, we can get someone from the NFL to reach us out and get some license so we can design similar products to all the different teams, because we always say, and this is also part of the payback, why let the Packers have all the fun? Why don't we have one for every team, so everybody can be represented and have fun with a hat at the games.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to put, any NFL regalia on that cheese grater. Everyone
Right.
wearing those will know exactly what it means.
Yep.
Here in the city of Chicago, it comes with its own. Everyone knows. If you know, type of thing. Wonderful speaking with you. Best of holidays to you and your company as well. I'm so excited for the popularity, the newfound popularity of your company. For instance, for your social media, what was your Instagram before this? Like, how many followers did you have before this?
I need to check on the numbers because honestly, what we've been trying to push and keep tabs on all the orders, but it's probably up around a couple thousands. And we expect more movement on social media in the next couple of days because I know there's a lot of people asking how we make the hats and some information about the company. So we're trying to work right now to get some content up there. So just stay tuned and people follow it so you can see some about us.
And how quickly can you make these up? Like, how long does it take you?
Right now, everybody working on this, we're probably doing around 800 to 1,000 a day.
Wow.
That's stopping everything and just focusing on these hats.
Yeah. Well, when we make it to the Super Bowl, who knows what we're going to need.
Yes, of course, that's the spirit.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And again, great speaking with you.
Thank you, Perry. Have a great holiday.
Love it. Bear down. What an awesome story. I love hearing the backstory as to the blessing that this has really been for his company in a time of need. Something just kind of dropped in his lap and we don't know how, for sure, for certain, how DJ Moore ended up with that cheese grater on his head. But what a blessing for this man's company that he got it some kind of way. And now so many people that are reaching out to his company just in the nick of time when they had a slow season to really turn things around for him. They're so cute. And who knows if they'll maybe be able to get the go-ahead for that hat, too, because I tend to think that if they got the blessing from the NFL or the Chicago Bears on that hat, that would go very quickly as well. All right, it's about 1:28 right now. Let's take a quick break, and we are going to go into our 2 o'clock hour. Really looking forward to a conversation right at 2 o'clock with Kenny the Goat. Many people here in Chicago know him, but we're going to talk about his most recent great giving back moment that he just had. So stick with us. We'll be right back with the start of our 2 o'clock hour. Where are we going? Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're in our 2 o'clock hour. Let's just talk a little bit about what we are expecting in this hour here on Chicago Live today. Boy, it is quite the day. And just to let you know, we will not have Chicago Live for the rest of the week. So this is like kind of our Friday. But with a shortened week due to the holidays, we still have quite a bit to talk about today. So 2:45, we are expecting to bring up our chief meteorologist right around there, sometime around the end of this hour. We're going to bring her in so that we can get an update on where things are going for the rest of this week today and into the rest of this week. We know so many people have so many things planned for the holiday, whether you're going to be maybe out and about trying to see some of the last minute Christmas activities, Chris Kindle Market, or things of that nature. We want to get an update on the weather outside. Look at all those people looking at the bean, getting their pictures in, and we love to see it. So we're going to talk to her about what more we can expect, whether there's any precipitation in this forecast, but the temperatures out there are just magnifique as of right now. We're also going to talk about AI becoming a problem in people's homes. There's good and bad to everything, right? And so we frequently have this conversation about the great things that are coming from AI, and also the points that kind of give us a moment of pause or a cause for concern. And so we're going to talk with a family attorney who will share a little bit more about what the holidays mean for their business and how AI is factoring into the divorce rates as well. We're going to bring up right around 2:15. We'll bring up Tia Ewing. She is working on a follow-up to a story that so many people have been watching every step of the way since a terrible tragedy back in, I believe that was August, September, somewhere right around there, when a woman was killed here in Chicago. And there have been so many questions for a while, the family pushing just for some charges, just for the person who fired the weapon to be behind bars. That finally happened, but now the court proceedings begin. And boy, there have been several developments in that case today. So we're going to bring her in around 2:15. But right now, I want to talk to Kenny the Goat here in this area. We frequently have a lot of people who become well known for giving back in big ways, and he is definitely one of them. Kenneth Smith is joining me. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, how you doing? I'm here.
All right, wonderful to see you. Let's just tell the people how you became Smitty the Goat online.
Yeah, so a few years ago, a friend of mine started a business and got a mentor online, and he came back and gave me the game, and the thing we focused on was our credit. All right, and one thing I did was master the art of leveraging other people's money and leveraging the credit game to be able to start businesses and investments. So I'm from Chicagoland area, suburb area for the most part. Then a little bit when I got older, the Chicagoland area. And I just went into what's like a lock-in mode. So it's just like learning everything there is about credit, business credit, starting businesses and investing. And here 4 or 5 years later, a multi-millionaire in my field of business, consulting online, making money online, and leveraging to start businesses and investments.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
I am 32 this year.
32, and what a difference you have made in just a short time. So you have now gifted a local woman a life-changing opportunity. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I had this crazy idea like 2 weeks ago. I was gonna do a give back. It's my first big one I wanted to do. I wanted to do it big. But at first I just wanted to do a toy drive. So I just did a regular toy drive. Kids come in and get toys. But me, I'm a big thinker. I'm a big dreamer. So I was like, what could I do that I had never ever seen nobody do in my life when it comes to like toy drives or somebody at my level, not like a celebrity or like an athlete, but like just a regular person from a regular city that has made it. Like, what could I do? And I said, I'm gonna go on a tour. So Chicago is my hometown, so I had to put Chicago in it. But I went on a 3-city tour. I went to Atlanta, I went to Miami, and I went to Chicago. In Chicago, I decided to cash out all the Walmart for people can just pay for whatever they want, give them limits, and give a car giveaway in each city. So Chicago, when you guys seen that one, that's the one I did in Chicago.
Wow. Tell me about the reaction that you're
Yeah,
getting from these huge moments, and especially this woman who you gifted a car to.
yeah. Yeah, she said she'd been crying for like 3 days.
Oh.
So once we actually did the paperwork and transferred over to her name, she just really hugged me really tight, and she just like she couldn't believe it. She's looking around and she's just like how is this possible and real that someone can just give me a paid off car? She doesn't understand like how it happened, but she just kept saying like it was God. She just like, man, it was just like meant for me to have this. Like I need it. She was pregnant. She had like 3 kids already. She said she needed it. She said she didn't have the money to be able to afford something like that. So she like, this is just a blessing from God that she showed up and she was there to be able to, win. So it was dope. And it feels good. Like I never really had thrown nothing like this before. The feeling of giving back is like amazing. Like I believe this is like one of the top feelings I ever felt in my life. It's dope to just see people's faces and, see the kids' faces and smiling and, it's just amazing.
And it's amazing to hear. It's amazing that you wanted to do something like this, but it really is amazing to hear how it's all coming to fruition as well. You regularly change people's lives by the information that you're giving them, and how hard is that to kind of lock in the area of expertise that you have grown?
To be honest, once you get it, you get it. It's not hard. But in the beginning, the changing the mindset to get prepared and ready to change your whole trajectory of your life, it's kind of hard. But it's like you got to choose your heart. It's hard being broke. It's hard being in the same position year after year after year after year. So I'll choose my heart on growing something, building something, learning about credit, learning about business, learning about growing, and learn that side of it, and that being hard versus me standing in the heart of what I used to be in, was barely can afford it, living paycheck to paycheck, and being in a position where I can't do the things that I want to do only when I can. So I believe there is hards on both sides, but you got to choose your heart. So it's not easy, but the other side is hard too.
I absolutely love that mentality. What is maybe the most frequent question that you get from people online as you're giving this information, this game to people?
So I believe it's like, okay, you keep saying for us to leverage the bank's money and get funding for our business. And how do we leverage credit to be able to make us money? Because like we got to pay it back. And the thing is, it's called two things. It's called good debt and it's called bad debt. And the thing we do is we leverage what's called good debt, and we purchase businesses or we purchase investments, and we make cash flow off our make cash flow off our investments or our businesses to pay back off the debt. All right. So many people are looking to get out of debt, but when you get out of debt, you're just back at zero. So my mind frame, now that I know better and I'm higher level in business, I understand how to use debt properly. Our grandparents and mom used to say, stay away from those credit cards and you're going to be in debt, because they were using it wrong. They were using it to buy things in the house. They were using it to go on vacation and, look pretty on the internet with hair and things like that. It's like, no, we got to use it as a tool to be able to make us money. And that's the only manner that we use it. And we start things like buying real estate. You start a business, you start a restaurant, these things that make us cash flow, and we pay the credit cards off later.
Yeah, and of course that continues to grow and grow. Are there some things that you're, like you said, you think big. So are there already some things for 2026 that you're saying, okay, these are my goal opportunities, or the goals that I want to reach in 2026?
100%. I got two big goals. I've already coached over 5,000 people this information. I'm looking to get to 10,000. But what I want to do is, once I teach 10,000 people how to learn the credit game and get access to funds, what I want them to do is I want us to come back together in one big group, and I want us to all do big investments like hotels and skyscrapers and things like that. So if I can be the lead pack and have the relationships and the connections, and then I teach people the money game for them to learn how to get access to capital to be able to start businesses and investments, and I come together with all these people and everybody puts up 20,000, everybody puts up 10,000, and we accumulate 20 million, 50 million, and then we can now go purchase things like hotels and skyscrapers where everybody invests together. That's my group and community goal. My personal goal is to get to $1 million a month. I want to take on the challenge in my life to be able to get to $1 million a month, and I'm not going to stop until 2026 until I do it.
How do your friends that you grew up with look at you now? What are the things that they say? I mean, is this I could see him doing this, or is it like, dude, where did this come from?
Yeah, I think it's like 50-50. Like half the people understood, like I can see how that happened. Half the people understood, like it was completely crazy. Like, man, I don't know how you did it, what you did, but it worked, And there was a lot of people that I told this was gonna happen before I did it. Some people believed, some people didn't, but it comes with it. But a lot of them are inspired. A lot of them are ready to do it themselves now. And a lot of people are still in disbelief. Sometimes we have conversations where it's like, is he really doing these things? the things that he says he's doing, the things that's been accomplished in such a short period of time, that he really owns these type of cars and houses and, being able to do things. And, I try to get people in the right mindset as much as possible, but I'm only one person. So I try to do as much as I can to get them to shift their mindset as possible. A regular person, just with a regular name, can be able to build something really big. So my narrative is to push this as very hard to get many people on board as I possibly can.
Yeah, and of course, especially for this generation, social media is a really big part of that, getting your name out, getting your information out to many more people. How do you use social media in what you do and what you're building?
Yeah, so social media is like one of my number one is ways that I do marketing for my business. So it's just about getting more eyes on who you are and what you do. It's like if no one knows you, they can't buy from you. They can't follow you. Like you have to understand how to use what's in our face in 2025, 2026. I heard you say something about AI earlier, like leveraging that as well. But like social media is the number one outlet that we have as a free platform to be able to promote our business. And it's like I studied social media for a year straight. I have mentors that I've paid thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to learn and master the art of social media and how to leverage it and use it for personal branding or being able to make money online or being able to scale a business when it comes to ads and social media. So it's like one of my very, very high level skill sets that I know how to use the internet to my business advantage to be able to generate revenue for my business.
I mean, scaling a business is something that so many people, that one aspect, a lot of people have good ideas, but scaling a business is something a lot of people don't necessarily master. When you're looking back at 2026, what were some or 2025, what were some lessons that you learned?
Yeah, one big lesson that I learned, they always tell us to have 7 different streams of income, right? And I understood that and I wanted to do it. So I started like 7 different businesses. What I learned was you go all in on one thing and you go 7 different streams of income within that one industry and that one thing to be able to create the 7 different streams of income, not just 7 different businesses and build all 7 different businesses at once. That's way too hard and complicated. What you do is you get rich off one thing and going all in on one thing, but you build your wealth by now investing into multiple things to where you create those extra streams of revenue after you get rich on doing that one thing and going all in that one thing. So my lesson is to just focus on one thing, go all in on one thing till that one thing hits to the part that you want to hit to.
Listen, I hope that more and more people listen to you, especially young people who are trying to get to where you are, but older people too that may have missed out on it when they were in their 30s. You are speaking some great language there, and I just wish you all of the best. You are a light in the world. Thank you for what you're doing, and please keep doing it and keep updating us.
I will, and I appreciate you guys for spotlighting this. It was a powerful moment in Chicago, so I thank everybody that came out. I thank everybody on social media that pushed it out, and I thank you guys for having me on here. Just want to push the message, man. Everybody can be a person that can do this. This millionaire stuff is doable. You just got to be willing to put in the work, and just believe. But I thank y'all, and I appreciate y'all, and that's what I got for y'all today.
Happy holidays to you.
All right, happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Okay, you take care. Everybody,
All right.
It's about 2:14. Wonderful speaking to a young person who just gets it. And to watch him not just build for himself, but to give back in a very meaningful way to so many people in many different cities throughout the country, but making sure that he gives back here at home in the Chicagoland area. I think we'll hear much, much more about Kenny Smith, Smitty the GOAT, however you want to call him. He is the truth, and I really appreciate what he is doing for so many people. Hey, I told you a little bit earlier that we were going to have Paris Schutz just as soon as he was available, our political reporter, to tell us about the major developments that took place at City Hall today as we have been counting down the days to December 31st. Not because New Year's Eve, great, although we'll talk about that at the end of the show, but because the city budget needed to be buttoned up by the 31st. And so major developments, like I said, that took place today. Paris, are you on the line now?
I'm here, Anita. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Tell us what happened.
Okay. All right. Well, so Anita, the mayor had 2 choices today. He could either sign this budget crafted by oppositional alders who got 30 out of 50 votes, or he could veto it and send it back to them and dare them to override it. So you want to guess which option he chose?
Door number 1.
He chose door number 3. Neither. So he chose to do nothing on it. He says, I'm not going to sign it. I'm also not going to veto it, which means leaving it alone like that, it just goes into law the new year. So he chose neither. So he chose this third route, which allows it to go into law without him putting his signature on it. And he basically said, he kind of had a campaign style speech afterward declaring victory, that they got 85, 90% of what they wanted in this budget, including having the wealthier pay more. But he was still not in favor of it because of a provision that would have really advanced the city's debt collection. So the city has $8 billion in debt owed to it by scofflaws and people that owe tickets. And the mayor said that's immoral. We don't want to sell that to collection agencies. So I'm not going to sign off on this. But then he put in an executive order saying, all right, even though I'm not signing off, this plan's going to go into effect. So we're going to make sure that medical debt is off limits. And that means about $90 million, they said, from people that owe money for ambulance services or different city emergency services they might have utilized. He says that's immoral. People might be struggling, and we're not going to go after and penalize people for owing that debt. So kind of trying to have it all ways here, but kind of throwing us a curveball, and not, everyone was kind of wagering which way he would go, and he chose the third way.
Yeah. And do you think that it's more of compromise at its best, or a really high level political game?
I think it's all of the above. I mean, it's always positive when you see in a governmental body that it's not just top down, and you've got the legislative branch working on this, and they had a very active role in this, and that's democracy. That they're representing 50,000 constituents each, so they should have an active role. On the other end of it is the messaging, and now kicking off this political campaign for re-election, where he basically drew a line in the sand. He said, well, you know what? They might have had the numbers in city council, but I have the people of the city. And these folks are looking out for corporations, but I'm looking out for the working man. And that's why I'm not going to sign it, but I'm also not going to, cause chaos and cause a shutdown and veto it. So it's all about the messaging war now.
It really is. And you can already see that. I mean, at the moment, they stepped out of there. Everyone was at a mic.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wanted to kind of seize control of the message. So the mayor had his top supporter there, the CTU president, Stacey Davis Gates, along with some other organizers, and really to make it like, look, we've got the back of the people, and the people are on my side. But the oppositional alders said, hey, we had 30 votes out of 50 for this opposition plan, so we represent the people too, and the people are speaking through their alderperson. So that's going to be the battle now. As the mayor realized, he kind of lost on this budget. So the key is then to seize this as a political victory, to say, hey, I did my best to stand up for working people, and that's what you see happening here today. So it really seems like the beginning, and he even said it. He says, you don't know what's coming in 2026. Basically saying he's going to amp up his campaign now for re-election.
And obviously we've already heard from some people who are looking in that direction as well, who are kind of dipping their toe into that. How heavily do you think this will factor into what we see come that time?
I think it's going to be very heavily. I mean, opposition alderman, Bill Conway, 34th Ward, made the case that, well, look, if the city can pass a budget and the mayor doesn't even have to do anything, why do we even need the mayor? He's making himself increasingly irrelevant.
And I guess I think we're having some issues with your connection there, but I guess the opposite thought would be.
Sorry, Anita. Sorry, did you lose me for a second?
Yeah, we did, but it's okay. I was just saying. I guess the opposite thought.
Hold on. I lost you. Let me grab you back here.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Okay, I have you now. Do you have me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Computer shut down for some reason. Went to sleep. Anyway.
It's okay. It's all right.
Who knows what's going on? It's Christmas. But so what were we saying? Yeah,
the alder going on vacation as well.
Yeah. If we can pass a budget and we don't even need the mayor, what's the point of having a mayor? He's making himself increasingly irrelevant if he says, I'm just not even going to do anything. So that's that case they're going to make, and um, I think that you will see some of the candidates in the new year start to dip their toe in even further and make this case that the mayor is really, he's got low poll numbers, and he's really lost city council too, where, but the mayor has turned it around to say, well, they had their plan that included a higher garbage fee, and we fought to make sure that didn't get in there. So both sides can, spin this. In a way that's favorable to them, and that's what you see. There's so much politics going on here, and I think there was a coordinated effort behind the scenes to really get this opposition plan going, led by a group called Common Ground Collective, which is a PAC, which is going to be supporting alders who are against the mayor and against CTU for office. They're probably going to be supporting a mayoral candidate at some point. So this was kind of the shot across the bow here to say, hey, Mayor, you have the Chicago Teachers Union to organize in your favor. Now we've got a coalition, and here's what we can do. We defeated you on this budget, and this is just the beginning. And the mayor's like, this is just the beginning. And now you're going to see, I think, this battle just only grow in the new year as this group, backed by business groups like the Civic Federation, continues to organize against this mayor and his priorities, and take the city in a direction more toward the middle, as the mayor is very far to the left and to the progressive wing of the spectrum. So this is the beginning, Anita. I think, we can go enjoy our holiday celebrations and then get ready for more battles in the new year.
I'm sure there will be more battles in the new year. And there was the big question of what a government shutdown looks like for the city if that were to even happen, which we never really understood what would happen. So it's good to see that we won't have to find out.
Well, the law department was busy figuring that out because the city doesn't have a constitution or charter, so there's no hard and fast rules on this. But if you don't have a budget, then you don't have money coming in, and you can't pay the bills that you owe, like for contractors, for workers. And so it likely would have meant people like police officers or emergency responders going without pay for a while. Now, the city was going to look at passing standalone bills to make sure that they still got paid. So that was going to be another hornet's nest. But, a polling showed that in a shutdown, the mayor would have gotten the lion's share of the blame. The average Chicagoan might not know who their alder person is or who any of the alder people are, but they know who the mayor is. And so if city government is shut down, who are they going to blame? And I think the mayor saw the writing on the wall and that said, look, I can't let this go to a shutdown. We don't need to give this kind of uncertainty to people. And they're going to blame me anyway. So we'll let this budget go into effect without my signature.
Okay. So is everything done where this is concerned? Or are we buttoned up, or does anything else need to happen before the 31st?
Process is done. The bills have all been passed, and they'll just kind of go into law, although the mayor says, well, it's never done. He still wants to negotiate on the debt collection piece of this throughout the year to maybe revise this after the fact. He still wants to figure out a way for corporations to pay more. That head tax, the budget cycle will start over anew, and they'll have a very difficult budget next year too, and he'll no doubt try to put that back in. And these alders will no doubt try to fight that. So it's never over, but the prospects of a shutdown are over.
Okay. All right, Paris Schutz, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Okay, you got it, Anita.
Okay.
Take care.
He has been running around. We were trying to get him in the 1 o'clock hour, and so glad to be able to get him in this 2 o'clock hour. Many of you all have been following a tragedy that took place in our area over the last couple of months as things have progressed now to a court case that is going through the legal system, and Tia Ewing has been on this story from the very beginning. She just stepped into Studio 32. We're going to take 2 quick minutes. We'll be back with more on the latest developments that happened at court today. All right, everyone, it's just about 2:27 right now. As you can see, Tia Ewing is here to give us an update on this terrible tragedy that took place a few months ago. Ramika Blackman killed by a woman that shared father of a child, Quadasia Johnson. They were in court today.
They were.
What happened?
A lot happened. So this was another push for Quadasia Holly Johnson to be released. She is pregnant, so her attorneys wanted her out of jail, just, another try to make that happen. That didn't happen. This is one of those stories where there's heightened emotion, period, considering the circumstances. You have a mom killed, you have the mom of the other child still by the same man who allegedly pulls the trigger here. I say allegedly because that's what we have to say, right? And so both sides are very angry, hurt, emotional. Quadasia Holly Johnson is pregnant, so you have a lot of her family feels like she should not be there. This was the first time that she had ever gotten into serious trouble. She did not have a criminal record, a criminal past, and so they want her out. At the same time, Romika's family wants justice. And so to have those two dynamics in one small space, which you remember last hearing, they had to move it to a totally different space because there were so many people, so many supporters of both women. And it happened again. You have emotion. So to my understanding, we had one of our freelancers, or I shouldn't say freelance, one of our producers there who was kind of watching all of this play out. Quadasia's family was released from the courtroom first. They lingered, kind of, stayed around a little bit longer. And then by the time Romika's family was released, both families collide. They're in the hallways together. We have some of that video which shows an argument of some sort. This side is saying this side is saying that. Both sides are having a war of words. It goes outside of the Layton Criminal Courthouse. And there's two different narratives. I don't want to be the person that puts out both of them, because who knows what's the truth in all of that, because we were not there. But what we can say is that the father that both women share was put into handcuffs. We talked to him, so we know what he looks like. His name is Carlos Smith, right? We interviewed him before. He's put in handcuffs. A person from Ramika Blackman's entourage, because I don't want to say their family, they could be simply a supporter, also was put in handcuffs. And we know that because as a sign of unity, they've been wearing pink. That person had on a pink sweatshirt. So we see those two people being taken into handcuffs, and then another male was put into handcuffs. There's two different narratives of what happened. You have Ramika's family saying their version of what happened. You have Quadasia Holly Johnson's family saying their version. They're not the same version. So we don't really know what the exact truth is. I did reach out to the Cook County Sheriff's Department because in the video that it has been widely spread on social media of what happens outside, you don't see how the fight starts, but you do see law enforcement with body cams on. So they were already there. It appeared as all of these words were happening, they followed them out of the courthouse. So they were already out there before whatever fight happened outside of the courthouse. So they would be able to give us the best narrative on a neutral standpoint of what their cameras capture.
And there are some questions for them too, because again, if this is a second court hearing where these families have met, and there were conversations online before everyone entered the courtroom today. Was there a heightened security stance? How did they even get to the point of having a fight, if so?
Very true. So what I was told by our boots on the ground is that they did not think it was a smart decision to allow the families to linger. And the initial family that lingered was Holly Johnson, Quadasia Holly Johnson's family. So they thought that police should have said, hey, you can't just stand in the hallways, you got to move. And because that didn't happen, both families crossed paths. And I mean, you're absolutely right. What do you expect to happen there? You're going to have chaos. You're going to have a war of words. And we know war of words sometimes can lead into punches in a fight.
A war of words led to why they're in there with someone who is not alive today.
To begin with, right? Because going back, we know that those two women had never even met. So we know it was literally war of words going on. And so knowing that, right, just knowing that going into that courtroom, you would expect police to tell them, you cannot linger here, you cannot stand here. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. it led to a fight. So we're trying to confirm if all 3 individuals are being actually charged and held, or if they were just taken into custody, taken back into the courthouse to just, cool off, be separated, and then go on about their way. I do want to point out the fact that I did reach out to the family of Romika Blackman to find out, what are they willing to say? I have not heard back from them. And I called Carlos directly, Carlos Smith, who's the father of both children's, of both women's children.
Right.
Very difficult to say at times, to see if he's actually detained. He didn't answer. So I don't know if that's an indication if he's charged or what. But the Cook County Sheriff's Department should be able to tell us if all 3 are charged and what they're charged with and what their names, et cetera. So.
And the layout of what happened.
Yeah, and really the question for them is, and I will follow up with this email after this conversation, what will you do on January 7th? Because January 7th is the next court hearing for Ms. Johnson. And if you don't contain this now, what does that look like? And I did a Facebook Live and I talked about this. There's been different court cases that I've covered over the years. When you have this much emotion, what will happen is you won't have to make the decision, the judge will. And the judge will basically say, there's too much emotion that is leading to violence in this case. We're gonna limit who comes in the courtroom. You can watch from Zoom, but in terms of both sides meeting like this in the courtroom, there will be limited seats. Maybe there's 5, 10 seats, whatever. But that has happened. In addition to some other measures that, I'm sure the family wouldn't want to see happen, but that is why, it's important to try to figure out, from a law enforcement standpoint, how this will be handled moving forward.
Yeah, and so obviously the brawl that took place today has a lot of people talking, but what actually happened in the case today? What was the outcome of the case today?
Quadeja Holly Johnson was not allowed to leave. I think that has been a point of contention here since the first hearing, is will she remain behind bars as the proceedings move forward? Her attorneys don't want that to happen because she's pregnant. They're arguing again that, she didn't have this horrible criminal record, that this is like just a bad situation in this moment that happened. And the judge simply did not honor that. So she will remain behind bars. January 7th is the next court hearing. And I think what you'll see is there will be several hearings, and at some point they will have to make a decision on when to seat a jury. But I think right now is the evidentiary hearings where they're collecting all type of evidence. They're going to basically collect and talk to all those witnesses. They may talk to them again. They may look at all the videos, make sure that her side, the defendant's side in this, has all the videos. So it's really paperwork right now. And then eventually they'll get into the trial. Trials in Illinois can take a very long time. But I think this is one that, because of all of the things and all of the pieces of the puzzle, we may see you're offered a speedy trial anyway, right? You're supposed to be. That's just, the Constitution, that's legally. But speaking like on the basis of this case, it may be expedited because of what's going on. So.
Well, I think I always end our conversations about this particular situation the same way by saying at the end of the day, the children, all of the children who are involved stand to lose the most with this entire situation playing out.
Yeah, and we know that in Romika's case, she will never see her children again, no matter if, that's her standing. She's not Quadeja Holly Johnson in this case where you can go visit in jail. And that's not to take away from Quadeja Holly Johnson fighting for her innocence in this. That's just stating a fact. And she's also pregnant. So that's a child that's growing up in some very, crazy circumstances too. The 7-year-old being Carlos Jr., who was left behind now being raised by his grandmother, Tina McMiller. It's tough all the way around. We do know that the 7-year-old, we're going to have this on our newscast a little later in the 4 o'clock show and 5 o'clock, but the 7-year-old was gifted like a Christmas today. I think he also did Christmas in the ward for where they live now. There's some, I guess, it's hard to say there's some positive because that's still not bringing your mom back.
Right.
But at least you get to have some type of normalcy that children are used to around this time of year. So,
and it shows at least the community cares.
Yeah, the community cares. My husband, Early Walker, was the one who orchestrated that on his own. It had nothing to do with me in the story. It was just looking at all of the crime victims, which is what he's done over the years before I existed in his life, what crime victims, especially children, go through, what story right now is like the most like, whoa, that happened. And in this case, the saddest part, I think, is why he's been shining a light on it, and others too, is because this little boy has lost two parents in a way.
Yeah.
Because grandmother doesn't want to see dad.
Right.
Because dad is implicated, at least she feels, in all of this as being part of this whole story. And then mom is never coming back. So it's just,
It's
that's
sad.
the part of the story that I think gets lost in all of the emotions and anger of who said what, who did what, who should have done what. It are the children. They're left, in really tough circumstances.
Very tough. We appreciate you staying on it, though.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And thank you to your husband as well.
Yeah,
for
happy
what he-
holidays.
Stepping up in a big way. Happy holidays to you, too. All right, everyone. It's 2:37. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's about 2:40 right now, and boy, what a conversation we just had with Tia Ewing about just such a tragic situation that's been playing out here in our area for several months, and we're certainly hoping that no more tragedies come from that situation that's already sad enough. So we do appreciate her continuing to stay on top of it and really hoping that something gets worked out there. It is horrible to see it continue to escalate. You know, the holidays can be full of a lot of high emotions, whether it's happy emotions, sad emotions. Things can be very stressful between families. And our next guest is going to talk to us a little bit about that family angle when it comes to family law, and in particular, relationships that might get pushed over the brink, not just because of the people involved, but AI. It is that point in our overall collective histories when we'll think back about the rise of AI. Katie McNamara, an attorney with the Family Law Attorney. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit about the holidays and when you all start to see a spike in people needing your specific type of help.
Yes. So we tend to see a spike in January after the holidays are over, and there's generally a few reasons for that. The first, as you mentioned, is some people find the holidays very stressful, and so a relationship that is already difficult and perhaps hanging on by a thread is pushed over the edge by the stress caused by the holidays, between the responsibilities, the hosting, the gift buying, the spending of money, et cetera, et cetera. So some people find come January, they're ready to take the next step and they'll contact a divorce attorney. In some families, people are already leaning towards divorce or know that they want to pursue divorce, but they just want to get their family, particularly if they have children, through the holidays without disrupting things and causing even more stress during a time that's already stressful. And also, some parents may not want their children to associate the holidays with a negative experience, like finding out your parents are getting divorced. And so they'll choose to delay beginning the process and telling the rest of their family until after the holidays are over.
Is that advisable? I mean, I guess everyone can look at things different, but then it becomes like the elephant in the room, the tension in the room, because you know what's coming, but they don't.
That's an interesting question, and it's one that's really relevant to every divorce. No matter when parents begin the process, no matter when parents tell children or extended family, the decision to divorce and the decision when to begin the process and tell the rest of your family is one that's really personal to every couple. And you have to decide for yourselves and for the rest of your family when the time is right to take that step and to tell everybody that you're doing it. So to holidays aside, that's an important question for every person beginning the divorce process to consider and think about before they begin.
Yeah, and divorce is so tough for everyone involved. How is AI factoring into this now?
So you may have heard, being in the news, more and more people are starting to talk about engaging in sort of relationships with AI, particularly chatbots that as they interact with you, develop the ability to anticipate conversation, ask questions of you, respond to questions for you in a way that over time it can become very personalized. And so people who interact a lot with AI sometimes will begin to become more dependent on it, and the communication will become more frequent, and it can even begin to take on sort of an emotional aspect for the person who's participating in it. And so a question that has begun coming up from time to time, perhaps more rhetorically than practically, is if a person is engaging in that type of ongoing communication with an AI chatbot, and it becomes more and more frequent and it becomes more and more significant to the person who's engaging in it, can that technically constitute adultery?
Ooh.
And can that be considered an extramarital relationship the way we think of typical extramarital relationships in the divorce context? So it's something that we're starting to see a little bit of as AI use becomes more and more popular, and as people who already use it begin to use it more and more and become more dependent on it.
My head is spinning from just the concept of that. Obviously, you know, some people could say, oh, it ended up helping us. Like it could be like an ad hoc therapist in some ways, right?
I suppose it could. And just like the use of any kind of electronics or electronic device, using it too much and relying on it to the extreme and having it interfere with your everyday life can become a problem. And overuse and misuse of AI, whether it's from an emotional perspective or not, can become problematic, just like overuse of any kind of electronic device can become problematic for the person engaging in it.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And I don't know, would people come to you and say this is the irreconcilable difference, is maybe how they see the use of AI in their household?
It could be. Anything that causes a problem that a couple cannot overcome can constitute irreconcilable differences under Illinois law. And as most people know, Illinois is a no-fault state for obtaining a divorce, meaning you don't have to show fault. You don't have to show the grounds that you used to have to show before. And so as long as you allege irreconcilable differences, no matter what they consist of, and the court finds those irreconcilable differences to exist, you've established grounds for a divorce. So whether it's an AI relationship or it's something more traditional, irreconcilable differences are pretty easy to show in Illinois and obtain a no-fault divorce.
My. What are some of the other top reasons that you think people end up in you all's offices?
Oh, there's so many. Not seeing eye to eye over raising children, not seeing eye to eye over managing money, not having the same long-term goals in terms of where people want to live, work-life balance, there are a million things that can cause people to end up in our offices seeking consultations for divorce. And what we always tell people during an initial consult, or at least what I always tell people, is, are you sure that you've exhausted all the ways that you can try to repair your marriage before you actually start the divorce process? Because it is a process that can be really difficult. And you don't want a client to start it without having tried everything they can to preserve and repair their marriage. And that's why oftentimes when people leave an initial consult with me, they'll leave with referrals for therapists, whether individual therapists or family therapists or couples therapists, just to make sure that if they are going to take the next step and pursue the divorce, they're sure that they've exhausted all other options.
How long does it take most people to finalize a divorce?
Well, if a divorce involves children, it often will take a little bit longer because there are additional terms that have to be negotiated and agreed upon to settle a divorce case that involves minor children. I would say it could take anywhere from 6 months to a year. And if a divorce is particularly contentious, it could even take as much as 18 months or 2 years to be resolved. And if you're not able to resolve your divorce through a negotiated settlement and you need a court to make decisions to finalize your divorce, then you're looking at a trial and you're subject to the court's calendar, and then the divorce process can take even longer. So it's in everybody's interest, if they want their divorce over as soon as possible, to try to reach a negotiated solution.
About how long is the longest you've seen people take?
Well, from filing until end, I've seen divorces take as much as 3-4 years. And sometimes, as some people don't know if they've never been through a divorce, just because you are divorced doesn't necessarily mean that the disputes are over between you and your former spouse. So sometimes, even if the initial divorce process didn't take very long, for whatever reason, people can find themselves still in disputes and still litigating things years after the divorce is final.
Oh my goodness. So what are the things that you tell people? And I mean, listen, your business is divorce, but what are the things that you would tell people to, from day one of their marriage or even courtship, to avoid ending up in your office?
Number one, communicate. And number two, try to be tolerant and accept that your spouse is imperfect and that nobody's probably going to meet your highest expectations at all times, and try to work together to weather the lows, because that's how people survive through tough times, is by communicating and tolerating each other and finding ways to bridge the gap and just move forward. But that's not always possible, which is why divorce lawyers exist.
Yeah, marriage is tough. Divorce is tough. It kind of goes back to another young man we spoke to. It's kind of, you got to pick and choose your hard, which they're both hard, which you have to choose your hard. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Katie McNamara of Burger Shats. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Happy holidays to you.
You too.
All right, everyone. It's about 2:50 right now. We are getting in some breaking news that we want to take you to. As I was speaking to her, you can see this active situation that's taken place here. We can see so many first responders there on the scene. At this point in time, we have a suspected shooter who has been killed after this incident at a Delaware DMV. Let's try to listen in, if we can, to this interview taking place there.
Okay. But this is a grave tragedy. There's a lot of patients that come to my clinic that reside at this nursing home. So we just from Lower Bucks County College, our thoughts and prayers are to everybody at the Silver Lake Nursing Center right now.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
We were listening in there to just a bit of an interview that was taking place as a result of this incident that's happened. That was from our sister station in Philadelphia. Again, this, just to give you a little background as to what's taking place here, they say there is no longer an active shooter in this area. I know you look at this screen and you're wondering, if you just tuned in, okay, what is happening here? There is no longer an active shooter, but this was a DMV location in Wilmington where this incident took place. They say that a state trooper and the shooter have been killed in this incident. Okay. They are continuing to tell people in the area to avoid being anywhere near this scene, but the active situation is over. We do know that police initially reported an active shooter here earlier, maybe about 2 hours ago. The latest update now, no active shooter. The governor has just issued a statement. That statement says we are closely monitoring the situation at the DMV in Newcastle, to be very specific about where this is. He says that I want to be clear, there is no active threat to the public at this time. Law enforcement acted swiftly to secure the scene, as you can see here. The shooter has been confirmed deceased. State and local law enforcement are on the scene and coordinating response efforts. He is saying what we just said a moment ago: please avoid the area, follow guidance from authorities. We will share updates as they are confirmed. So again, that is coming from Governor Matt Meyer of Delaware, who just gave this statement just moments ago here. But Delaware State Police are confirming a trooper has been killed in this shooting incident that took place at the DMV. And again, the shooter is deceased as well. So 2 dead. One of those is a state trooper, unfortunately, in that area who responded to help save lives. We're getting some updates from other law enforcement and lawmakers in that area, just saying that they've been briefed about this situation, that they're praying for all of those impacted. And again, a state trooper has lost his life in this situation. They're not releasing any details just yet about the suspect, about anybody else who may have been injured in this incident, or what even led up to the incident at this point in time. Just asking that people avoid that area as this investigation is in its early stages here, with the knowledge that the law enforcement community has lost a state trooper that went to go help in that incident that ended up losing their life today. So a tragedy that's taken place at a DMV location in Wilmington, Delaware, just a short while ago, and we're still waiting for more information to come out. In fact, the Delaware State Police say that they are staging an area for media right now, so they may have a press conference sometime soon. If we do get a live picture of that press conference, we'll try to take you back there. But again, if you are just tuning into us right now, we do know that a state trooper and a suspected killer, a suspected shooter, have both been killed there at a DMV location in Delaware today. Active situation no longer, but a life of a law enforcement officer has been taken, as well as the shooter, to prevent more people from losing their lives today. It's about 2:55 right now, everyone. Give us just a moment to reset and kind of look forward, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It's 3 o'clock right now. It's amazing that we've come upon this final hour here of Chicago Live so quickly, but there's plenty more that we want to talk about here ahead. And right now, we've got to talk a little bit about a situation that has come to our attention in this area. That there was a dog found to have had rabies. Now, it doesn't sound so shocking until you really get into the numbers and how rare that statement is for our area. So right now, I want to bring in a veterinarian who has so graciously agreed to speak with us today, Dr. Erica Esser with West Loop Veterinary Care. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so have you heard about this situation?
Yes, the Illinois Department of Public Health did send out a notification yesterday evening, and our practice has been working to make sure that we update our website and social media so that we can keep our clients and other pet owners in the city fully informed.
What was your reaction, I guess, maybe I should ask, when you saw the notice?
Definitely a surprise. Thankfully, rabies is a rare disease in Chicago and Illinois. However, it's definitely a present disease, including in the wild animal population. So when I heard about it, I wanted to make sure that we were getting information out to our clients about keeping their pets up to date on preventative care, especially the rabies vaccination.
Tell me a little bit more about how you all notified, or what you notified your clients of. What are the things that people need to be doing or cognizant of right now?
Yeah, so there's no need to panic. The Department of Public Health is reaching out to people whose dogs have been directly in contact with the rabies case. But we want to make sure all of our clients are checking their rabies vaccine status. If their dogs have fallen out of date, to make sure to contact us so that we can get those vaccines up to date, or if somebody's not sure of their pet status, to of course give us a call. In Illinois, rabies vaccination is legally required for dogs and cats, and it's because of situations like this. Rabies is a very fatal disease, and it's also very preventable through simple vaccination. So being up to date on those vaccines is crucial, not only for the pet's health, but also for the people who live in their family and in their community.
Mm-hmm. And in this situation, the dog had to be put down, which is sad. I believe the dog came from Florida, was adopted by a family. ended up having to be put down. So you mentioned that like any dog that's come in contact with that particular dog would then have to go through, and people would have to go through the process of rabies vaccinations?
The public health department is notifying people and their respective pets on what procedures to follow. Based on the animal's rabies vaccine status, the recommendations may differ and may include different lengths of quarantine or rabies booster vaccinations. So wait to hear from your public health department if you do feel that your dog may have been exposed. And in the meantime, reach out to your veterinarian to make sure that your dog is up to date on their vaccines.
Yeah, and when you say exposed, how would another dog end up maybe, or another family, pet family, end up being contacted? What kind of exposure? Are we talking about eating the same food, or what type of exposure?
Rabies is a virus that's spread through saliva, so bites would be, of course, a very main way of transmission. However, other spreading of saliva through shared toys or bowls could potentially transmit the disease, especially if there were open wounds involved. So saliva is the route of transmission.
Mm-hmm. And why is it so rare? I mean, it's a great thing that it is rare, but why is it so rare in our area?
Thankfully, because of vaccination campaigns and the both efficacy and safety of the vaccines that are available in our communities. So other countries and other areas in the world are not so lucky, and there are a lot higher incidence of rabies, but we've been able to control the incidence of rabies through appropriate vaccination and also through laws and requirements.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? I mean, as people are hearing about this, and I think the best advice you gave was not to panic, because of course, when people hear about something like this and they don't hear about it often, it's like, wait, whoa. How quickly can it spread? Like, are we talking about, okay, one dog has rabies and maybe 2 or 3 more are exposed or are impacted, or could this really spread much further than that?
So it would have to be through direct contact with saliva, and as I mentioned, especially into a bite wound or mucous membranes sharing of the saliva. The disease itself can take even several months to move from the site of infection to a full-blown rabies case, which is why quarantines may be part of the required protocols, so that there is an observation period to determine if the exposed dogs are showing any symptoms themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think all of that important advice for so many pet owners in our area. Are there other things that, outside of this rabies case, that you are seeing more of right now that we should make the public aware of?
Thankfully, many of the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are things that also can be prevented and also treated with your local veterinarian. So we see a lot of diarrhea this time of year with all the melts and things spreading on the sidewalks, giardia especially. We see dogs with paw injuries or upset stomachs from the salt that's out on the ground. So wiping off paws and using boots can be helpful. And we're always on the lookout for respiratory diseases as well. Thankfully, we do have influenza vaccines and Bordetella vaccinations. So really keeping up to date on preventative care goes a super long way in making sure that your family's pet and who's part of your family is healthy and you're able to enjoy that relationship with your family.
Dr. Esser, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Take care.
And happy holidays. All right, 3:06 right now. And, when it comes to our furry family members, of course, we want to make sure that they're taken care of. And when we saw that kind of shocking news of a rabies case in our area, we wanted to make sure we had a veterinarian in, an expert to be able to talk to what we should all kind of keep in mind. But speaking of things that we keep in our minds, one of the toughest battles for families as people age is memory care, and seeing a loved one who may have some type of mental decline, whether it's dementia of some form or Alzheimer's specifically, it can be a long, winding journey, speaking from personal perspective. It can be a long, winding journey and a tough one for everyone involved. So think of the light that so many families can maybe get from new advancements in terms of medications. And we know that there is a local professor of chemistry from Northwestern University who has now invented an experimental drug that is really showing some promise. I want to bring in Rick Silverman to talk a little bit about NU9. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Tell me where NU9 is in the process of eventually, hopefully, getting to use on a widespread basis.
Well, right now, so NU9 has been approved by the Food and Drug Administration to initiate clinical trials, but I should preface this by the fact that this compound was discovered because we were interested initially in ALS. And so we carried out a large screen of 50,000 compounds, looking for compounds that would prevent protein aggregation from occurring as a result of a mutation in a gene that causes ALS. And we were able to find 17, actually, different classes of compounds that did that. We honed it down to 3 classes. And then my group modified these 3 to make them better as drugs. It took about 5 or 6 years. But eventually we got 3 really outstanding compounds, one of which is NU9. And we found in animal models for ALS that it restored the health of upper motor neurons in these animals. It restored the health of the mitochondria and the endoplasmic reticulum, the apical dendrites, the axons, all the parts of the neuron. And so we were very excited that this would be beneficial in ALS. And so then we tried a different mouse model that had a different mutation, completely different. And we found the same thing, that it was effective in this other mutation. And so that's when we thought, okay, well, maybe this molecule is a general protein aggregation inhibitor. And all neurodegenerative diseases have this problem of proteins aggregating and then causing the neuron to malfunction and cause the disease. So we put it in an Alzheimer's mouse model and also found that it was effective. And so this was really the beginning of trying to understand, why is it that this one compound could have an effect on multiple neurodegenerative diseases? And I think we now understand that what it does is it activates the part of the cell called the lysosome, which is the garbage dump, basically. It's what clears out all the junk from the neuron. And so it doesn't matter where the protein aggregates came from, what disease it would cause. This lysosome activity then would clear it out. And so it wouldn't matter which neurodegenerative disease. So that really was an exciting new finding.
Yeah, and so obviously, when we talk about an experimental drug, the drug itself can be exciting, but is it also possibly the change in approach to treatment of Alzheimer's that could really be just as significant in terms of the study that you're doing?
Yeah, so I think now it's pretty well accepted that the toxic species that causes Alzheimer's disease are these small soluble proteins called amyloid beta oligomers or A beta oligomers. And what these oligomers do, these are small aggregates, protein aggregates, is they activate the astrocytes. And astrocytes are cells that support and protect neurons. And when they get activated, they become what we call reactive astrocytes or inflammatory astrocytes. And this is what leads to neuroinflammation. And the increase in reactive astrocytes then it correlates with the severity of Alzheimer's disease. And what we found most recently, actually, this is my collaborator, Dr. William Klein, and his student, Dan Krantz. They did the studies in their laboratory using NU9. But what they found is that these A beta oligomers exist in more than one subtype. And there's one type that occurs very early on in the disease and causes the neurodegeneration well before symptoms appear. And this is common to neurodegenerative diseases, that once you have symptoms of that disease, the disease is really pretty far advanced. And so as a result of this, then NU9 was tried to see if that would have an effect on this. NU9 then was licensed from my Northwestern lab into my company, Akava Therapeutics, and its name changed to AKV9. But what this compound does is it prevents this buildup of toxic species. And so this then also dramatically reduces the reactive astrocytes that are produced. And so if we have a compound now that can prevent these early onset A beta oligomers from causing the neurodegeneration, then it would be great if we knew before symptoms to use it or not. Well, it turns out there's a biomarker for these reactive astrocytes, and it's glial fibrillary acidic protein, or GFAP. And that, as the reactive astrocytes increase, the GFAP increases, and that can be released into the bloodstream, and you could detect it in your blood. So this is occurring then before symptoms occur. And so if you went to your doctor for your annual physical and had a blood test for GFAP, saw that it was increasing, I mean, up to now, there was no reason to do it because there's no effective drug to treat the disease. But if NU9, AKV9 holds the same promise in humans that it has shown in mouse models, then we would have a drug, and you could take it prophylactically to clear out these A beta oligomers causing the neurodegeneration before you even have symptoms.
Well, it really is interesting, not just interesting. I mean, it's promising, hopeful, all of the things. So we appreciate the research that has gone into it and your dedication to really seeing medical change in the future. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And please keep us updated. All right. 3:17 right now. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to get into a hot button political issue right here in our area. A lot of us have had conversations about the Board of Review, the Cook County Board of Review lately, as it pertains to the property tax bills that went out, the shocking numbers that people saw. But now, as we look forward to election season, there is a bit of a controversy that is brewing when the Cook County Board of Review is concerned. So let's take a quick break, 2 minutes. We'll be right back with the first part of that. Okay, welcome back, everyone. It's about 3:20. Want to get right into political fight is already starting months before the Democratic primary here in our area as we close out this year and get ready for all of that in the new year. One of the opponents for a Cook County Board of Review member has alleged that she was offered a job in exchange for dropping out of the race already. I want to bring in Liz Nicholson so she can go into more of what she says happened. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, Anita. Thank you for having me. It's very good to be here to sort of explain what happened and some of the story that occurred today.
Absolutely.
So
and this is regarding Board of Review member Samantha Steele. What are you alleging took place?
Sure. So my name is Liz Nicholson. I'm a candidate for the Cook County Board of Review in District 2. And what I'm alleging took place was that over a year ago, I declared my candidacy for Cook County Board of Review District 2. And in September of this past year, after I was fortunate over the summer to be slated by the Cook County Democratic Party and several other leaders, in September, I received a phone call from a very prominent individual who is a labor leader. And that individual conveyed to me that Ms. Steele had called this person and basically, in so many words or less, offered me a position in her quote unquote administration, even naming a salary of what that position would pay in exchange for me dropping out of the race. And so I was very taken aback by that, as was the individual that conveyed the message to me. It was obviously very unethical and very disturbing that somebody would, offer a government position in exchange for me dropping out of the race.
And so may we ask who that person was?
The person, actually, I'm going to wait to release the name of you mean the person that Samantha called. I'm going to wait to release that, but obviously in the Tribune story today, they did their due diligence and they had verified this occurred with this individual. And just for out of courtesy, I want to, not say the name right now, but not only that individual, but then there was a second offer, if you will, that was made to another individual that was relayed to me, which is when I took action and reported this to the OIIG, which is the Executive Inspector General at the county.
And that was going to be my next question, what you did with that information. And so you're saying it wasn't just you, there was another person who received a phone call from this same person?
Mm-hmm. So what happened was Miss Steele called the first person in September. That person reported that phone call to me. My team and I decided that while it was very troubling and unethical, and it was an offer that really was just wrong on so many fronts, we decided we needed to move forward with our campaign and just ignore it. But then when I got the second phone call from somebody that Steele had phoned and made an offer, again, very similar to the first offer, of a job in her administration, this time the salary went up a little bit, in exchange for me dropping out of the race. And it was at that juncture, when that second person conveyed that she had called them, it was at that juncture that I thought, this is so unethical, inappropriate, and bordering on unlawful to be offering a government position in exchange for me dropping out of the race.
What was the salary that you were offered?
So on the first phone call, the salary was $123,000, which again, I was so shocked when this individual told me this and relayed this from Samantha Steele. And in the second offer, if you will, the salary went up to $130,000. So obviously, if it weren't so troubling, it would almost be humorous, because I'm not sure what kind of an elected official, clearly with no integrity, would make those types of offers, because they are clearly so wrong and violate the public trust and violate really a code of ethics that you are to take as an elected official.
Did they specify the type of position you were being offered?
No, there was no specificity as far as what the job would be. It was simply on both occasions when Ms. Steele made those quote unquote offers, it was, listen, if Liz, I heard she needs health care and I could get her a job in my administration, meaning actually at the Board of Review, the office that I'm seeking to get elected to in March. And it wasn't anything about what the job would be or anything, but it was connected to fairly high salaries. I've had much experience in government over the years, and I can tell you that positions like that are, first of all, the fact that she would even offer something like that is so inappropriate in exchange for me dropping out. So the first offer was $123,000 or around there. That's what the individual told me she had relayed to them. And then in the second offer, it went up to $130,000. Mm-hmm. So it was very disconcerting. And it was at the second juncture, which was maybe late October, that my team and I decided that we didn't want to be privy to or party to any improprieties. So we determined at that point this was so inappropriate and so wrong that it was time for me to report it, which I did.
And even though you didn't want to mention who the person was, what is their connection to Samantha Steele?
Actually, that's a great question, Anita. Their connection is obviously they are prominent folks that work in the political industry, is all I would say. One connected with labor, and another one who is actually a good friend of mine. Both are friends of mine. But I would just say that they are in the political business, and they took offense, obviously, to her even suggesting to them and that they should relay these offers to me. So both of them are very active in government in one way, shape, or form, and in the political arena. So they're very high-profile individuals, and they are cooperating with, whatever the investigators need to inquire about from the Office of the Inspector General. And also the story that was in the Tribune today was verified as well to make sure that nothing went to print without it being verified that this indeed occurred.
Why didn't they reach out to the OIG before you? Like, why did you have to if this was initially voiced to them?
I think that's a very good question. I think that they felt that they wanted me to be aware and my team to be aware that these were things that Ms. Steele was offering to them. And I think they wanted me to be aware, and they wanted to give me the opportunity to deal with it how I saw fit. But obviously, both thought this was very inappropriate, highly unethical. And they wanted to put it into my court because they know I've been working hard in campaigning throughout District 2. And I've got the support of the party. I've got support of a lot of labor union leaders and a lot of community and business leaders in Cook County. Yeah. So I think that these two gentlemen just wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity to hear what Ms. Steele was saying and offering, and that my team and I could determine, if we wanted to report it or whatever we wanted to do with that information. So they really gave me the opportunity to address it. And I appreciate that. I appreciate them for telling me that she was out there making these offers.
Sure. I'm asking a lot about the person in the middle because if someone's asking me to do something illegal, I get taken down too in the midst of it if I carry that out.
Yeah, I think that both individuals indicated to Ms. Steele at the time that it was absolutely inappropriate for her to even inquire as to this. And I think out of courtesy, because she is the sitting commissioner at the Board of Review, I think out of courtesy, they simply said to her, Commissioner Steele, this is not appropriate for you to even be voicing this. And again, my question would be, if these are just two folks that I was made aware of, I'm not sure what else she's saying out there, but that is why I took it to the Inspector General so that they can mitigate it appropriately with the appropriate, investigation going forward.
True. And the other reason why I was asking about, again, the person in the middle is because if I'm Samantha Steele, I could say, because I'm not the person who called you, that this is a person who's trying to take me down.
Sure, I suppose you could say that, but I think that these two individuals are highly regarded as ethical and honest people that would not, wouldn't want to get involved in that way. And they were simply, the fact that she took it upon herself to make these phone calls, it's a pattern of what we've seen with Ms. Steele over the past 3.5 years. From her very poor judgment the night of her DUI arrest and her sort of pointing fingers at everybody else, and a lot of the other ethical patterns of abuse that have been, highly reported and highly confirmed through the media and through, the Office of the Inspector General. This is a pattern, I think, that we are seeing with Samantha Steele, where she's got a long history and a very troubling history of making very poor judgment on what she's saying and how she's behaving and how she's representing the office. So I think it's very indicative of a long pattern of her unethical behavior in the office.
Well, her DUI is well documented, November of 2024. That is well documented. Many people have seen that video. We have aired that video here on our air. But you could say that these are two completely separate issues, that a DUI is a totally separate issue from making the claim that someone is calling other people to then offer you a job in their office to drop out of a race. They could be very separate issues. Could be one thing is true, could be two things are true. Not sure, all of these are allegations, again, at this point in time. But let me ask you this. Why did you decide to run for this specific position?
Sure. So, Anita, that's a great question. And just to get back real quick on the other issue, though, I think besides the DUI, there's been a pattern of unethical behavior and things of this nature where she's saying inappropriate things. As you know, she was sued by a former staff member who then sued the county and was awarded $180,000 because of Ms. Steele's impropriety and some of her behavior. There's several other reports of unethical behavior that the OAIG reported on that had occurred with her staff. But getting back to your question of why I'm running for this position. So for many, many years, I have been in government leadership. I've run as deputy director, as chief operating officer, state agencies under the purview of the governor over my long career. I'm getting older. I'm 58, so I've had many years of experience. And I saw that there was a big disconnect in the board of review. Obviously, I'm already supported by the other two commissioners, Commissioners Rogers and Commissioner Cardenas, and I have very good working relationships with them. And what I had seen was that there was a lack of communication between Ms. Steele and the other elected officials in the county and in the process of the tax, the whole assessment and tax appeal process. And so I thought, and I was told by a lot of folks that are on my team, you know, Liz, you should really consider, with your knowledge of the office and your knowledge of the individuals that are currently holding office in the county, that you should consider running. I've got a history of integrity, and I've got a history of working hard and communicating with other electeds and the folks that are in the process to ensure that I am representing the taxpayers of Cook County, no other political interests, and no interests but the hardworking men and women of Cook County and in my district, which goes from the Loop to the North Shore and then west to Elk Grove Township. So it's a large district. So I determined that it was a really good time for me, especially with the issues happening with Commissioner Steele, that it was a really good time for me to roll up my sleeves and to say that, look, I want to do this because I want to be the best representative that we have for the taxpayers and with my fellow elected officials to do this job, and not to bring in any political bias, not to bring in any shenanigans or misdeeds or unethical behavior or anything biased, or I don't want to let any political ideology seep into the process, which has been something that Ms. Steele really has been getting in a lot of hot water for. And I think her preoccupation and the fact that her diversion with the DUI and all of these other issues really make it that you cannot lead with integrity. And that is something that I pride myself on, Anita, and I want viewers to know that I want to do the job, and I want it to be my full-time job going forward.
You have an issue clearly with Samantha Steele. A lot of people, especially after the last round of property tax bills, have an issue with the entire Board of Review.
Sure.
So what are the reforms, if you will, that you're looking to make if you do succeed in becoming a part of that Board of Review?
That's a great question. So one of the things that I've been delving into, I've been going out to the district since I declared my candidacy over a year ago, or about a year ago. I've been going into the district, and I have been talking to the folks that, make the wheels go round and round in the whole system. I think, number one, what I've seen in District 2 is that residential property owners and commercial property owners need to understand, especially residential, that this should not be such a daunting process for them. They should be able to represent themselves pro se, meaning without representation of an attorney. And the process through technology in the office and through a very robust workforce, which I plan to work very much hand in hand and roll up my sleeves and work with, if elected, with the workforce. Folks should feel that the process is not daunting or overwhelming, and that they can indeed, through technology and through a very well-versed and cohesive workforce at the Board of Review, be able to, participate in the process, and they should be able to do as much as someone who's got an attorney representing them. So I want to make the process easier. I also want to make sure that individuals in my district, if English is not their first language, I want to work very closely with personnel and HR and AFSCME, the union that's going to be representing the workers of the Board of Review, and make sure that job descriptions are updated so that there's perhaps a Spanish-speaking option or a Polish-speaking option on those job descriptions, so that our workforce is best able to help the taxpayers of my district. And that's something I've learned very much going out into District 2, that individuals feel overwhelmed, they feel intimidated, and there's a language barrier there. And these are things I really look forward to rolling up my sleeves and getting involved in and helping the taxpayers of District 2.
Liz Nicholson, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and we're going to keep updated on this particular matter that brought you here today. Thank you so much for your time. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
All right.
Bye-bye.
It's 3:36 right now, and I do want to let you all know that we did reach out to Samantha Steele. She is going to be joining us with her side of that story coming up in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes, and we're going to bring in the other side of that story. There's always multiple sides to a story, so we wanted to make sure that we are fair to the very serious allegations that she is facing right now, and get her side of things, as well as these two women are in this race now for Cook County Board of Review. Before we get to her, though, we do want to have another conversation. We had asked earlier today for a representative of a company that was just hit by what seems to be a growing crisis of theft in our area to join us. And this isn't just any kind of theft, it is cargo theft. So the CEO of Rexing Companies, Dylan Rexing, is joining me now. They had a $400,000 shipment of lobsters that was on its way to Costco locations and somehow got hijacked. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Anita, for having me.
Okay, walk me through how this situation happened.
You know, this is a major issue that our country's facing right now. It really adds to the inflation issues for the products and services that we're buying here, around the country. But I was talking to our attorney, and he was telling me that there was nine truckloads of products stolen in 5 days, over
Wow.
$250,000 in value. So it's a very large problem that we're having here right now.
Yeah, so you're seeing it happen to other people, and then all of a sudden it's your company. What was your initial reaction?
$400,000 is a lot of people we can hire. So it's a little heartbreaking. Our business overall, we have over 100 employees. So it's a large pill to swallow for us.
Yeah.
We'll get through that. And frankly, the lobster's gone. I know that. I'm here today to shed light on the issue, so that folks around the country know how big a problem this really is.
Yeah, and when you say it's gone and it's $400,000, how impactful is that to your business?
It's huge for a smaller to mid-sized company based here in Evansville, Indiana. It's huge. It's the lack of paying our folks a Christmas bonus, or hiring an extra person, or it's a huge impact to our business.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a couple of things. One, where did things stand in the investigation? Has anybody been caught for what happened to you all? Anybody been arrested for what happened to you?
So it's a little early in the process. Trying to work with the Trade Association, Transportation Intermediaries Association, on this topic. And trying to share things that I can share without getting myself in trouble. The FBI is involved in this case. I don't want to share too much on that piece. I don't know that I know anything. I don't believe anyone's been arrested yet. They are aware of the issue and they are actively working on it. But frankly, they need more resources.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think when I speak to some professional folks on our side here, 9 loads over $250,000 in a 5-day working week period on just one guy I talked to. It's a huge problem, and they need more resources to catch these folks.
Oh my! And I asked that because there would be a lot of questions as to, one, is it some type of ring that's operating? And then I'm sure a lot of people would look at it and wonder, is it an inside job?
Yeah. I would tell you it's pretty safe to say that this is a theft ring of some sort. I'm not sure exactly who's involved, but yeah, it's a big problem. I'm not so sure that it's necessarily an inside job, at least inside our office or inside the shipping location where it shipped from. But I was aware, this particular load happened. It was picking up in Taunton, Massachusetts, and it was heading to Minnesota and Chicago, to different club locations, as you mentioned. When I called to get a police report, I was mentioned. I gave the information on when it picked up and when it delivered and some of the important details. And the police department mentioned to me that there was another load 10 days prior, a load of crab stolen from the exact same facility in Massachusetts.
Yikes. Okay, and then, looking forward, are people within your industry or similar industries kind of communicating? Like, what do you do different moving forward when you know something like this is happening?
So we knew of this problem. You know, we go to trade shows and different associations, and this is a known problem. It never happened to our business, and so I don't want to say we didn't take it seriously, because that's not true. But we've definitely heightened our awareness, and we've changed some processes and procedures inside our office to make sure it doesn't happen again. But again, these criminals they're good. This is not a mom and pop organization. These folks are out there looking for your products that you buy in the store, and they're looking for easy targets, higher value goods, easily moved, and we need our government organizations to do more.
Mm-hmm. Are you speaking with lawmakers or anything of the sort to try to advocate from that standpoint too, like that there's something needs to be done from their standpoint?
Great question. I personally have actually been on the Hill. I think I wasn't able to make it this year, but 3 years prior, I personally was on the Hill. You know, we're based in Indiana, so you know we can get in front of the Indiana congressional folks, and so yes, I've been there 3 years talking about it. TIA, our trade association, that manages some of our business portions, they've been talking about it for 10 plus years. I was talking to the CEO of that organization, Chris Burrows, a little bit ago, and he mentioned that he had made some comments on some legislation in 2012. It's actually over 10 years ago, on this exact same problem.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, I mean, when something like this happens, do you feel dejected? Like, you know, how do you continue to move forward when you know there's something that's just kind of hitting your bottom line and there's not much you can do?
You know, I feel energized to do things like this. Like, again, as mentioned, this product's gone. The loss has already hit our books, or will shortly hit our books. Mm-hmm. I get energized to get in front of nice folks like you, to shed light on the issue, mm-hmm. To make sure it doesn't happen again to us or to another smaller business or even a large business. I mean, it's just I can't explain how big of a problem this is. I would say our association estimates it's over $100 billion a year.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's huge.
Oh my. Well, I am so sorry that your company has gone through this, but yes, I am very glad that you've chosen to speak out about it and to, not be quiet in the midst of this happening to so many other companies as well. I mean, knowledge is power. At the very least, it's good that more people are learning of the magnitude of this issue out there.
Yeah, thanks for having us on to talk about it, and would love to come back to continue talking about the same issue.
All right, we will continue to seek you out then when we have more information, and please keep us updated on the investigation that's going on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
All right, 3:45 right now, everyone. We're going to take a quick break, just 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. It's 3:47 right now, and while we always want to make sure that we are trying to present all sides of the situations that we bring you here on our air, on the broadcast, not always do we get to present them both at the same time, both in the same broadcast. Sometimes it's a day or more before another side is presented. But today, I'm grateful that we're able to air both sides of a particular topic here in one setting. And so moments ago, you heard us having a discussion with a woman named Liz Nicholson. She made very serious allegations against a Board of Review member, Commissioner Steele, and we have Commissioner Steele joining us right now. Samantha Steele is joining me to air her side of this very serious situation. So Liz says that there was someone, a high-ranking labor union member, who contacted her as she is running against you for the Board of Review, who contacted her with a job offer from you to join her office in exchange for dropping out of the race. What is your reaction?
One, thank you for having me and presenting both sides of the serious allegations. You're correct. In no way, shape, or form did I offer Liz Nicholson a position on my staff. I have 20 years of experience in the property assessment industry. I believe that this is nothing but a tactic for a machine politician to distract from the fact that she's not qualified for the position that she's seeking, let alone an entry-level position on my team. Her professional record speaks for itself. She's separated from a prior position for serious ethical violations, including writing herself unauthorized bonuses. Additionally, her involvement in the Paul Vallis campaign. I mean, recently there were hundreds of thousands of dollars of campaign funds that were paid for work that was never completed. So, for her to say this, I'm not surprised by that because of her integrity. But it is disappointing that she would go with machine tactics. So we just saw a suit where the Fourth Ward Democrats did the same to an individual, and she sued them and actually won a significant amount of money. So, I'm not surprised that she's trying to show herself and get some name recognition before the primary election in March. But the fact of the matter is that there is no such position available at the Board of Review or in my office. Anyone that knows anything about the board knows the hiring process and how that works. And I am not in charge. I don't have anything to do with the hiring process.
So she has turned over her allegations, her claims. She's made a formal filing to the OIG's office. What do you think the OIG will find?
I'm surprised that she would go. Her going to the OIG shows that it's not a serious claim. If she believes that I really did this, I would go to the state's attorney, right? This is an illegal proposition. And she's just using this as a campaign tactic. So I'm sure the OIG will do their investigation as they do in internal government functions, but this is a campaign external function, and they will find that there's no basis in this. I am filing a cease and desist letter. She should be receiving that in the next day or so. And then if she doesn't retract, I will take this to court because it's serious allegations and it's defamation of character.
Very serious allegations for sure. You've made ethical claims about her and claims that, about her integrity. She spoke to the ethical issues that you have faced in your current role and the fines that you have been faced with over the years.
Absolutely. So over the years, it's this last year, I was fined for somewhere around $4,300 for speaking out about the bears. They're my other colleagues at the Board of Review. They speak out about cases, but special interest groups and special people, I guess they get better treatment than others. And I ran my campaign on being transparent. I was told that I should have made the media FOIA the bears information. And I just don't think that's appropriate. And I would 100%, speak about situations that arise that the public needs to know about. I took an oath to office to represent every taxpayer and not just a few. We can talk about that. And, my opponent, Liz, she takes campaign contributions from property tax appeal attorneys. She is not qualified for the position. I hold the highest designation in assessing in the state of Illinois. I'm one of 4 people to hold this designation. And she doesn't even understand the inner workings of the board of review, let alone the appeal process or valuation process.
And have you gotten a list of who her campaign donors were? I mean, you just made a claim that, somebody specific or really a group of...
A lot of them, actually. Yeah, you can go to Sunshine, Illinois, and you just type in a candidate and you can see who's donated to their campaigns. And she is definitely racking up, tens of thousands of dollars from these campaign property tax appeal attorneys. And I took a vow in 2022 to not accept campaign contributions from property tax appeal attorneys, and I've kept that, and I do intend to keep that. And I think that shows a lot of integrity, because I'm the only individual that's running for or ran for the board that has not taken campaign contributions. I'm not beholden to them. I'm beholden to the taxpayers and to the voters.
You've talked about this issue of transparency. She spoke of your DUI back in 2024. How do you intend to address that moving forward? Because it does speak to a lack of judgment to get behind the wheel after having any type of alcohol in your system that would go over the legal limit.
And I was not over the legal limit, and I was not behind the wheel, after drinking. The case is still pending, so I can't go into detail about that. But I do expect a not guilty plea. I have, it has been very well broadcasted. And some of it is, there's a lot of deep fakes, which is unfortunate. A lot of that, the body cam footage was, it was given to my stalker before my attorney even received it. So, it's an unfortunate situation. And I think that after it's gone through the legal process, I will be able to speak on it more.
Okay. As you are approaching the March primary, I'm going to ask you the very same final question that I asked her, and we have very limited time, but I'd like for you to answer it. People are very upset with the Board of Review right now after the last property tax bills that went out. What is your response to the situation that people have wound up in as they're looking squarely at the Board of Review, asking, how did we end up in this?
So it's important for people to understand the role of the Board of Review. The Board of Review is the due process for taxpayers. We do not set value. We only adjudicate appeals when presented to our office. And 9 times out of 10, the assessor does not defend his values at our office. And so we go by the evidence that's presented, and many times that's an independent fee appraisal by the taxpayer. And I advocated for reopening the appeal windows that had closed for townships in this appeal cycle. We did that, and in 2 weeks, we were able to help over 10,000 residential property owners file an appeal. My office held, outreaches this summer. We were at all of the city festivals that we could possibly be at. I held 2, just this past month, outreaches in Jefferson Township, where we had over 500 people come and appeal their assessments. Without appealing, it's so important for people to know that there's nothing else that they can do. Like, they're saying, we agree with the value that our property is going to be taxed on. And so it's imperative that taxpayers appeal their assessments.
It is, though, concerning that so many people needed to appeal this year.
Yeah, and I've been talking about this for 2 years now. Cook County has not had a physical inspection of their books, right? So they have not, the assessor's office has not been out to physically say, what did they have on the assessment roll? And without doing that, they're having inconsistencies at such a higher rate than every other jurisdiction in the state. We have 1/3 of the property tax owners appeal almost every single year. And that is unbearable. These taxpayers need someone like myself representing them, not representing attorneys that make billions of dollars off of this, not representing, special interest groups, not representing large corporations. I'm there for the taxpayers, and I have, 20 years of valuation experience working. I do trainings for county assessors across the Midwest. I speak international conferences. Our office, my district, actually my office this year, we won 4 national awards from the National Association of Counties for my appeal outreaches and for the training and the special standards that we've initiated. And so this, the work that I have done in the office definitely speaks for itself.
Commissioner Steele, we certainly appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And please keep us updated on the pending matters.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. You take care and happy holidays.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Everyone. It's 3:57. We're getting ready to get out of here, and we certainly appreciate you being here with us each and every day, but especially today as we go into the holiday season. We know that there's so many other places you could be, things that are going on, but we appreciate you taking a little time to stay with us here on Chicago Live. It will be our last Chicago Live for this week. My last Chicago Live for the year. So I do want to let you know that on New Year's Eve, I'll say Merry Christmas in a moment, but on New Year's Eve, that will be the next time that I'll be working. And Jake Hamilton and I will be out at Tout Chicago. We invite everyone to join us. It's going to be 2026. We're going to set it off right with Fox Chicago here. So we invite you out to Tout Nightclub. We're going to be celebrating there from Times Square to Texas. We're going to have plenty of performances going on. It'll be a fun night, and it all begins at 10. Now, if you can't come out and join us, make sure you tune in, Fox 32, or you can go to Fox Local and you'll be able to see the broadcast there. Thank you so much for being here. Merry Christmas, and I'm going to go ahead and say Happy New Year because the next time I'll see you here for Chicago Live, it will be 2026. Take care.